Well, good morning. Thanks for joining Jonathan and Julie D in the morning. Julie D is out today. She has a couple classes she has to attend. And I have a special guest with me here this morning, Phil Lyman from Utah. Good morning, Phil.
Hey, Jonathan. You look good. It's good to see
Oh,
you.
thank you. Yeah, good to see you, sir. So for those of you that don't know Phil's been down on the border with me many times. He ran for the governor of Utah as well. And a lot of corruption out there in Utah we're going to talk about this morning. So would you like, I'm going to let you start out, Phil.
All right. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on, and hello to your guests, and appreciate the work you're doing. Yeah, I met Jonathan a couple of years ago down on the border in Arizona. That took me down there, and it was really an eye-opening experience for me. I was just starting my first run for governor in Utah. Been in the legislature up here for 6 years at that time, and a county commissioner before that. And so a lot of things that were bothering me. And I guess maybe the theme of my politics is that bad policy hurts people. And we have a lot of really bad policy, and we saw it on the border. All of that was an extension of policy. And my curiosity, what got me into politics, was wondering why do people who are supposed to be serving us make such horrible policies that hurt us? And immigration is one of those prime examples of that, but there's so many others. And so I ran for governor in Utah in 2024, and exposed a lot of corruption in the process. I won the convention route by 67.54%. If you get over 60%, then you go straight to the general election. There is no primary.
Right.
But because the governor is over his own elections, he forced a primary by saying that he had gathered petition signatures to put him on the ballot. He was the only one that had signatures. So there was only two of us. The table was set perfectly, and I said, no, I don't have to do a primary. And then I said, I don't believe he got his signatures. Well, it turns out now, after 4 separate audits, that he did not have his signatures, but didn't matter. He's the governor. He's in charge. He prints the ballots. And I also said, I don't believe he won the primary. He came in at 54% to 46%, I think was the split. And statistically, the way the votes came through, statistically impossible. And so I've accused him of having fake votes added to the front end of that election. And I stand by that. And it's an audacious claim, but it's really easy to disprove me just by opening up the cast vote records, which used to be public record. A lot of states, you can still just go on, look at all the cast vote records, see where the precincts, how they voted, when they came, when the votes came in. You can never tell an individual's vote because their ballot looks just like everybody else's. But anyway, so we got into all of this. Number one, they wouldn't let us look at his signatures prior to the election, which is our right to do. They wouldn't let us look at the voter rolls, which is our right to do. Then they wouldn't let us look at the cast vote records after the election. We've been through probably upwards of 8 lawsuits and grammar requests, government records information requests, all of them stonewalled from the very beginning. And we've got a governor here who was determined to be elected, and a bunch of people that were determined to put him in there so that they could continue to do to Utah what they're doing, which is, destroying the culture of the state and jacking people's taxes through the roof. We've got the biggest collapse in affordable housing in the nation's history right here in Utah. The biggest influx of illegal immigrants, and all of it done by policy, all of it done by greedy developers who are concerned more about what's going into their pocketbook than what's happening to their neighbors. So that's kind of where we're at. We got a bunch of other stuff that's happening right now that's coming out that's going to be very interesting.
Well, Phil, I love all the work you have done. I love the fact that you have been a trooper on the border with me and my team. That you get out there and you share the truth, you get it out to the American people. And this is another cause that American people need to stand behind you on. The amount of corruption that we have witnessed, with elections, with Donald Trump elections, and now you. Tina Peters even exposed a bunch up in Colorado. She's sitting behind bars for exposing it. This is the kind of stuff that the American people are fed up with. And I am so glad to see that you're still in this fight.
Yeah.
That you're not backing down on it. I
I,
understand you've got some pretty big lawsuits going right now as well on this matter.
yeah, I've got big lawsuits, and for me, I kind of crossed that past that exit way back as far as backing down. Clear back in 2014, I was charged federally with a crime, a completely bogus, politically motivated crime, tried in a kangaroo court. I had 4 federal judges recuse, and by the end of it, I did end up spending 10 days in federal prison, and it was a very real 10 days. I was expecting at sentencing to be sentenced to 2 years, hoping for maybe 10 months, and the judge finally had a little bit of an awakening and sentenced me to 10 days. So I've seen that side of it. Tina Peters is a friend of mine. We're in neighboring counties. I'm in southeastern Utah. She's in southwestern Colorado, and we're neighboring counties. And I know Tina. I've been to her home a number of times, talked to her many times, and it's really discouraging when you see the lengths that these people will go to shut a person to shut a person down. So you have the excuse me, Jonathan. So you have the choice of whether you quit and go away, or whether you fight. And for me, like I say, it's really not an option. I've got a beautiful life here in Blanding. I've got my wife and kids and grandkids. Uh, so I've got things that I would prefer to be doing, but the corruption, that's what they bank on. They bank on making it painful enough for honest people that they find a different path, and they're very effective at it. They'll go after everything you've got.
Well,
And
Phil, me and you have something pretty big in common. If you would have told me I was going to be out doing news broadcasting and getting it out to the world, I probably would have told you were nuts.
yeah,
But
I'll
here
bet.
I am today. Uh,
Yeah,
I just got so tired of all the corruption, all tired of the fake news out there. I thought, well, what better way than just to get the news out myself? And being a private investigator as well, we don't just you know spat things out there. We investigate it before we report on it to get it out to the world to make sure what we're sharing is nothing but the truth.
right, right.
And that's kind of like you. You have been staying on this truth mission, trying to get it out there, trying to fight this, and you're kind of like me. To my last breath, I'm gonna fight for this country. I'm
Yeah,
gonna fight for justice, and what they have done to you, and they wrongfully incarcerated you, just like they did Tina Peters. Tina Peters has been in there what? God, going on a year now, I think, right?
I think she passed her year mark.
Yeah, she's past her year mark, and I know Donald Trump tried to pardon her, and Colorado says no. And so today I'd like to ask all you guys from Tina Peters' defense. If you don't know about her, look it up on the internet. But reach out to the Colorado governor and the legislation out there as well. Put some heat on them that they need to release Tina Peters. Um, she's a Gold Star mom, very much a patriot,
Yeah.
and they put her in federal prison to silence her and for getting the truth out to America on election fraud. And I'll probably get nailed on YouTube for saying that today, but oh well. Um,
Well,
But
I hope people recognize now that election fraud is not a conspiracy theory. It's a conspiracy fact. We've seen it happen,
yeah,
and that's one of the things. I think you and I also share that in common is that people need to open their eyes and see what's happening. As long as we can be, cowed into, saying, "Oh, I don't believe those conspiracy theories," then we don't look into them. We don't understand them. But yeah, 2020 was absolutely a fiasco of an election. January 6th was a setup, and we know
yeah.
that now, and yet we're still compelled. At least some people are compelled to promote what they know is a false narrative,
Yeah.
and on we go. I mean that's human nature. That's society that we live in. But um, uh,
Oh, couldn't agree more. Yeah.
yeah, I guess Jonathan. I look at it. I think I think Jesus is coming back at some point, and we know how that all wraps up. The only question is, what do we do with our lives, and do we stand up for honest people? And I can't imagine, in the eternal, long-term perspective, which I have belief in, I can't imagine being happy at the end of that to say, oh well, I made a bunch of money and I was, I kept my mouth shut while my neighbors were just, their lives were destroyed. I just To me, that'd be a sad day to realize, man, I could have been involved in one of the most exciting periods of history. And I think we're in one of the most exciting periods of history right now in America. So so I enjoy every minute of the fight. I'm kind of addicted to it, I think. And my wife is very supportive, which is a blessing. Some people don't
Yeah.
have that.
Bless her heart.
My
Yeah.
kids are supportive, and so yeah, it's just again, just like you. It's not your fight, it's the fight. It's like the eternal struggle right here laid out in front of us, and I think everybody has a choice to make, and they need to make a
Well,
choice.
Phil, that's why we were actually exposing the truth of what's happening on our borders as well.
Right.
And taking people like you, lots of senators like Senator Phil Hart out of Idaho. We've taken other senators down to the border, just getting the truth out to America of what was really happening. And we were also exposing corrupt Border Patrol agents. Um, and don't get me wrong, I love our Border Patrol agents, people.
100%. Yeah, that's why you stand up for the honest ones.
But
Yeah.
we also exposed some very corrupt ones as well that were bought and paid for by the cartel, working with the cartel, and
Mm.
we exposed them. And some of those border patrol agents now are sitting in federal prison for their wrongdoings.
Wow.
Um, and again, Phil, what you're doing, you're exposing the corruption out there in Utah as well. And I believe there's some people there in Utah that should be behind bars for what they're doing. And they're definitely not standing up for the American people, and they're taking their votes like they don't matter and doing as they please with them. And that's a sad
So
day for America.
yeah, a couple of other things that people might find interesting about Utah. Charlie Kirk was shot at UVU on September 10th in Orem, Utah, and I was there. I was with him that morning. Was talking to him just a few minutes before he was shot, and the response on that was so like choreographed. And that's the part. It's like, I don't know who shot Charlie Kirk. I don't know what happened. I don't know any of that, but I watched the response afterwards, and it was a huge performance mainly by our governor. And I thought Kash Patel handled that poorly as well. So I'm watching those things. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. And then the narrative, I mean, by 10 o'clock that night, the narrative is like, oh, it's over. It's done. We got him. It's like, oh, wiping tears, I guess was the next day that they said
Right.
they got him. So that was weird. And there's a bunch of attacks that are going against certain people, myself included, in Utah, that I'm not hurt by them. I'm not even concerned by them. I'm intrigued by those. Like, why would these groups be attacking Phil Lyman over the Charlie Kirk thing? But I go back to our governor back in, you know, 5 years ago when he was running. Our attorney general was being charged with, uh, some crimes, some sexual assault crimes. As soon as he announced that he was not going to run for attorney general, all the charges were dropped. He was dropped from the lawsuits. He was dropped from the charges. and that was done through extortion and coercion, and it ties back to a good friend of mine, Tim Ballard, and
Yeah.
Tim Ballard was he was attacked the moment that he said he was going to run for the Senate. And what is he fighting? He's fighting human trafficking. Well, Utah's got a serious issue with human trafficking, a major hub for human trafficking right here in Utah, fostered and promoted by policy through the legislature, through the governor. And you've got the culture here in Utah that people uh, kind of defer to authority, let other people make their maybe set their opinions a little bit more than they should, and we've got a serious problem as we watch this unfold. And I think we're going to see corruption at the very highest levels of the society in Utah come to light, even more so than we have. And this past year has been miraculous in what we've seen come to light. And as that continues, I really appreciate anybody outside of Utah who's willing to take a look, because inside Utah, it's like a what's the cage, the fight cage, the Mel Gibson Thunderdome. It's like we have to fight ourselves in Utah, and it's rigged and it's gamed. So when someone like you pays attention and says, "Hey, I'm willing to look at least at what's going on in Utah and call it out," we've got a big issue right now, on redistricting. But it's the Republicans that created the problem, and now it's the Republicans that are saying we're going to save this problem. We're going to go out and we're going to save Utah from all these things. But it's the same people that created those problems. It doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. It's whether or not you're a communist or not. And we've got a bunch of really communistic ideas coming really, really hard at Utah, and it's we need friends. We need honest friends all throughout the United States and throughout the world too.
Yeah, we do.
We'll say we're not going to put up with this. Utah's important enough to stand up for.
Yeah. Well, Phil, you made a good example there. I don't know what's going on with our Republican Party right now. There's some things I see that I'm just like, like Daniel Gutierrez. I don't know if you've had a chance to meet him, but
I have, yeah, met Daniel.
Yeah, he was running for United States Congress down here in Phoenix and the Tucson sector. And they did that special election after Grajava's daughter took over because Grajava died. So they did the special election. Everybody kept saying, well, we can't have Grajava's daughter in office. Well, no kidding. Because she follows her dad's footsteps and wants open borders, the whole 9 yards. Well, what happens on the election night for Daniel Gutierrez? 20%, not even 20%, of the Republicans went out and voted in the special election. Now, Grajava's daughter didn't even get, I think, 30% of her party go out and vote that night as well. So if you think about it, if we would have even had 70% of Republicans go out and vote in that special election, Daniel would have been our United States Congressman for Arizona.
Yeah.
And now we're stuck with Grajava's daughter. Now everybody's complaining about it, saying, oh my God, she's trying to reopen the borders. She's wanting to provide all this for the illegals again. And how did we get to this point? Well, I'm going to tell you, folks, how you got to this point. You failed to get out and vote. Once again, you failed the American people here in Arizona. And it's kind of like in your fight that you're in, Bill. Right? We need people on board with you in this fight. We need people getting involved in this fight. People that have the evidence need to come out of the woodworks and say, you know what, we need to make this right. Because there's a lot of evidence out there that still is not out there. That's being exposed.
Right.
And it takes whistleblowers of all kinds to come forth to get a lot of this stuff out. Like Tina Peters, wonderful lady. She's a good friend of mine as well. And she just happened to be a whistleblower. And, God bless her for doing that.
God bless her. Right.
And like Tina told me, she says, John, I'm probably going to go to prison for what I did. She goes, but I'm not backing down from this fight. She goes, what they have done is complete fraud, and I exposed it. And she goes, and that's the reality behind it.
And that's why she's going to prison. It's not because she did something illegal. It's because she she exposed something that they did not want exposed. I mean, I've been down that road too. And, you know, with Arizona is a clinic on election fraud. And
Yeah.
people say, well, how do they do it? It's like, there is a long list of ways that they do it, and Arizona used every one of them. You know,
Yeah.
misprinting ballots, messing up the polling stations, not having the wrong scanners and the wrong ballots. I mean, these things don't happen accidentally.
Yeah.
And then I think just their voter rolls were a total mess when we finally got able to look at Arizona's voter rolls. You know, so many people that were deceased and so many fake voters and people that registered, 20 people registered at a parking lot as their home address, things like that. All of those things from a CPA standpoint, I'm a CPA. So all of those things are badges of fraud and things that it's like, can you detect fraud when somebody's very, very good at it? Is like, you probably can't, but you can see all of the badges of fraud, all of the things that would make that possible, and without the controls. And then you see people like Tina Peters go to jail. I was disappointed, honestly, that Carrie Lake didn't put up a bigger fight after she lost the governor's race, because I think she won the governor's race in 2020. So I was determined watching her that I would not do that same thing in Utah. Was asked in a debate with the governor early on. They said, will you commit to accept the results of the election? And I said, I will commit to verify the results of the election, whether I win or lose. And so I'm still doing that. And as we do it, we just continue to show, number one, he didn't have his adequate number of signatures. We've got criminal charges against some of the gatherers, the kids that are out gathering. They need to be going criminal charges against the clerk in Davis County that verified all these fraudulent signatures. They should be going against the company that hired these kids to do it. They should be going after the lieutenant governor's office, who actually, when they realized that they didn't have enough signatures, they turned everything over to her, and she verified her own signatures because it's a joint ticket with the governor. I mean, it just continues to as you peel back the layers, it's rotten all the way to the core. And
Right.
and yeah, so we learned a lot in Arizona. Arizona had some good state senators, and Mark Fincham and some of the folks down there that were pushing on this. And again, God bless them for doing it. They were made to look like cartoon characters, and the national media went after them. And this is the part where we're waiting for Donald Trump to follow through on his promise that he's going to, look at some of the states and clean up some of those things. I've got a lawsuit against the lieutenant governor. The DOJ's jumped in on it for the voter rolls. So there's progress. It just needs to go faster.
Yeah. Phil, I've got to ask you for your opinion on this. What's your opinion on the 6 people in office that went against Donald Trump and made that broadcast that they did, telling people to disobey orders? Or what they consider unlawful orders.
Yeah. You did this one just recently?
Oh yeah, you have the astronaut guy that's in office.
Yeah.
I know his name. I can't.
I mean, it's what it does to it just shows the double standard. And if you've read much history, you go back to Lenin or Stalin, and it was those who were with the party could commit any crime with no accountability, and those who weren't with the party were charged with ridiculous crimes and sent to jail. So you've got these people that are advocating basically violence or at least disobedience, which is far more, exceeds by a long ways anything that happened on January 6th, which was also a setup by the same group. So it's like we're just being played. We're being played, and I have a lot of faith in Donald Trump, but I also see the people that are surrounding him still, and there's some good ones. And you mentioned the GOP. We have some of the best people on the planet, in key positions in the GOP, but we also have some of the worst people, which again would be what you would expect. You'd expect infiltration. And I think we're just going to have to get a lot more, a lot more serious about ridding ourselves of the infiltration, and that's going to take prosecutions, it's going to take people going to jail. I watched, the charges, the federal judge that dropped the charges against Comey, and it's just laughable. It's like, you're gonna drop the charges against Comey. It's like, why isn't John Brennan, indicted and in prison? I mean, he's an insurgent for foreign powers. I don't know. It's
Well, it
like,
looks like that actually got appealed. If that got appealed, and looks like they're going to go ahead and move forward with the charges, is what
yeah,
I'm seeing now.
yeah, I would expect.
And I pray to God that's what happens. But again, so much corruption for so long has been tolerated in this country. I love Donald Trump's tweet over Thanksgiving. Did you see his tweet over Thanksgiving?
I saw a couple.
Yeah. So he tweets over Thanksgiving that he thanks all the patriots and people for allowing all this kind of corruption and all this garbage out there. Donald Trump was basically calling out even all the patriots. It's just saying, basically, why are you guys been tolerating this for so long? And
And that is the truth. We have a bad habit in this country of looking to other people to solve our problems, and that's, in America, government by and for the people is a real thing. And if we want to fix it, you better get out and at least learn what's going on, at least understand what's happening, and the globalist powers that are driving some of those things.
yeah, it's totally insane where we see this country in the direction it's gone. And I have to agree with you. I mean, we've got a lot of good people in office right now, but the amount of corruption surrounding the good is overwhelming. And I'll say it, Bill. I think Donald Trump has some pretty bad choices in some of the people that's working with him as well. Yeah, he's got a great group of people, but then he's got some bad apples in there that I think, in my own opinion, they're going to hurt. They're trying to hurt him in the end.
Yeah, I think
That's
what's he got? I mean, like, directly kind of connected to his office, it's like 30,000 people.
Yeah,
And then you take the whole federal agencies all throughout the United States, and I don't know how many millions of people that entails. So managing that is no small task. But if anyone can do it, it's Donald Trump, and that's what we're all kind of still hoping and waiting for. And in the meantime, we educate ourselves, and we stand up and call these things out, hoping for the time when maybe Pam Bondi will actually do something in our area of focus, but we don't stop.
well, and something I keep telling the American people is we've only got 4 years with Trump. Now we're down to what, little less than 3.5 years left. And the reality is, folks, in 4 years' time, we're not going to be getting rid of all these illegals. It's impossible. We've had over 30 million come through our borders. Everybody thinks Donald Trump is a savior, and he's going to have this country illegal ridden within the 4 years. There's no way that's going to happen. And furthermore, something we've talked about as well in the past, Phil, we're talking 30 million that they know of that came through those borders. That's not even including all the gotaways. I mean, I bet you we've got easily another 30 million gotaways sitting on American soil. And that's a big concern that the American people need to open their eyes to as well. It's got to come to a stop somehow.
100%. And again, the people that are promoting that and making it happen are the same ones that stand out in front of you saying, we've got to stop this, we got to stop this. And then behind the scenes, and this is our governor in Utah, behind the scenes, they are doing completely the opposite. And as long as people close their eyes to that, that dark agenda behind the scenes, they're going to be fooled. Right. I don't know if have you heard of the Cloward Piven strategy? It's from the 60s, and it's a husband and wife. Cloward was his name. Her name was Frances Piven. He passed away a few years ago. She's still alive, but I mean, their whole structure was basically to convert the United States to a communist country. They teach their big college professors, and the way they would do that is to overwhelm all of our systems, all of our welfare systems, everything else. One big part of that was to flood the United States with illegal immigration, and then the solution to the collapse, to the breakdown of all those systems would be a universal income for all Americans, for the government basically to take over. It's communism. And when you read it, and then they're the ones who also created the what we call the Motor Voter Act, the Records Act. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank on the Voter Records Act. Um, and you think, oh well, these people, even though they're communists over here, maybe with the Motor Voter Act, it was something virtuous. It's like, no, all of it is pursuing the same thing. So you try to push these things out. You see Governor Cox at the National Governors Association promoting Disagree Better. Well, Disagree Better is a Carnegie Institute communist agenda to basically give people a social credit score. Utah's got the Dignity Index, which they're rolling out nationwide. It's a score. You know, we wanted to counter it with our own index called the Truth Index because we think truth is more important than tact. And we just people have got to fight. They've got to understand. I've been reading The Naked Communist, Cleon Skousen's The Naked Communist. Ben Carson did a plug for that recently, and I thought, oh, I'm going to read that book. And oh man, it's.
I heard that's a really good book.
Oh yeah. I mean, it is the blueprint for what they have planned for the United States, and we're marching right along in lockstep. So when you see people come out, proposing, hey, I think 15-minute cities would be good. I think Disagree Better would be good. I think nationalized elections would be good. Well, it's all in the book. It's all there, and it's like, okay, this is they're doing what they said they were going to do.
And Phil, they used to do this so silently, and they did. It used to be you wouldn't see this before your very eyes. Nowadays, it's exposed right to the whole world what they're doing, and they don't care.
This
I really have observed a lot lately.
Yeah, you look at like the Afghan shooting on the National Guard in Washington D.C. and I mean that's a horrible act by terrorists. But those terrorists were brought here with your money and my money. They were put up. They're housed by Americans. It's like they're not the true enemy. The true enemy, again, is the policymakers. And the policymakers know exactly the powder keg that they're setting up for this country. And I do think there's probably some inevitable hard times to come as a result of some of those things, but at least we shouldn't be deceived.
Well, Phil, here's a good example. The Biden administration, Biden allowed a foreign invasion on American soil. There's no ands or buts, people. I mean, we had people
100%.
from Afghanistan coming right through the border when I was reporting right there live to you guys. We had people from China coming through. And I'm not just talking women and children. I'm talking lots of men of fighting age coming right through the border. And we allowed it. And when I question Border Patrol over and over about this matter, Border Patrol says we're just following orders. Well, it's kind of like Mark Kelly. That's the name of the astronaut that was going against Trump. I couldn't think of his name. Kind of like Mark Kelly sitting there telling people not to take unlawful orders. Well, what the heck do they think they were doing, Phil, for the last 4 years under the Biden administration? You got Border Patrol sitting there telling me we're just following orders. Well, the Constitution tells us we're not to accept unlawful orders. We're supposed to take it to a higher command, and question those orders. Well, why was our Border Patrol agents even not questioning those orders? Why were they following orders to allow this foreign invasion on American soil? That right there, to me, is treason. I mean, you opened the gates right there when you took down the border wall, those big sections which we showed you.
I know. I was just going to say, people think that there's a border wall, but when they remove 20-foot sections every quarter of a mile, and we asked him that day, it was like, why are they removing those? And they said, well, it's for convenience. It's for the people crossing. It's like, okay, this is not a wall.
Me? Yeah.
It blows your mind. Yeah, that was an eye-opening experience. And like you say, all the people that were there were very willing to talk to you. Hey, we came from Africa, we came from here, we came from all over the world, and this is how we got here, and this is who's helping us. And a lot of those people, I think, believed that it was a program that was somehow legal, and the cartels right there, in full view. And it's like, it was really eye opening to me to see how blatant that operation was.
I can't quite remember, Phil, if you were with me that day when I had Susan Black down there, and some other people as well.
Yeah, I was with Susan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. And then there was another time that we were down there. We had another group of people with us. We had the cartel right up on the mountainside there, come down off of the mountainside, approach my truck like they were going to try to hijack my truck.
I was there that day. That was
Oh, that's right. That's
yeah,
right.
with Ian Trottier and
Yeah, yeah,
his
yeah,
friend. But yeah, we're like,
yeah,
what in the world is happening right now? So that was
yeah.
intense.
And you know, the American people out there that keep doing these no kings events and all this stuff, acting like, you know, we don't have the problems on our borders like Donald Trump says we do and all this garbage. You know, I invite you guys, call me. My number's up on the screen, 928-385-4738. You guys ever want to come down, see the truth on the border? Me and my team will take you down to the border. We'll actually take you right into the heart of the cartel on American soil and show you guys, you know, what you are claiming is not true. Our borders to this day, and I don't even know if you're aware of this yet, Phil. I know they keep telling everybody on the news channels our borders are secure. That's untrue. Our borders are not secure, folks. You get down to the tribal lands on our borders, those borders are wide open. Thousands and thousands of illegals still come through those borders right there. You got the cartel coming through those borders right there. The tribal land is allowing this to happen because they're bought and paid for. The people that live on the reservation don't want it, Bill. They
Oh
want it
no,
stopped, but their tribal council overrode them and said,
right?
"Nope, we're going to allow this. We don't want the border wall."
I mean,
I mean, again, here's corruption at its finest going on here in America, it's kind of like the tribe there has to deal with the tribal council like we had to deal with Biden. You know, even
right.
though we didn't like what was going on in our country, we had no say in it. Just like the tribal Indians, they have no say in it because the tribal council overrules them. And it's a sad day for those folks because those people have their children being human trafficked. People are dying left and right of fentanyl on the reservation there. They've got the highest rate of fentanyl deaths in the country. Nobody ever talks about that either, because it's coming right through the tribe.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and you know,
You know,
and
when
just
we were down there, and you see the jugs, the meth jugs, whatever that stuff is that they
yeah,
drink so that they can run for 2 days straight. You see those things there. You see
yeah,
the rape trees. I mean,
oh
and you
yeah,
just, it's like, it's your mind can really, it's really hard to process the reality of what's happening to people.
yeah.
And then we say
What?
that, oh, we're doing this because we're compassionate to
Yeah,
people. It's like, oh, we are setting up a human trafficking operation that is so vicious. And you take it back, and you know that it's going right back to like our own CIA and some of our intelligence people, and just like the Fast and Furious, the gun running, and all this stuff
yeah,
is like, you would like to say that that the cartels are the enemy. The cartels are working with our cartels. It's organized crime, and
yeah.
it's uh yeah, it's astonishing.
Well, I call the CIA cartels, in my opinion,
Right? No, no. I mean,
because they work with the cartels.
they do, and I'm
Yeah.
sure there's good people on intelligence, but there's bad people,
Oh
and
yeah.
at the end of the day, we're watching the big communist uh, program roll out in front of us, with people telling us, oh, we're the ones that are going to, save our independence. We're going to save our elections and do these things, when they're the ones that are behind the scenes promoting all of this other, ushering in this communism. Which, if you were committed to that, you would also be committed to the ruse that they're committed to, which is to deceive all of American people that they're
Right.
the good guys, and that Trump is the bad guy, that MAGA is the bad influence. So
Well, this is why it's so important, Phil. You know that we got you in office as governor, of Utah, and I hope you win all of your fights that you're battling right now. We need somebody in Utah as well that's going to fight, that's going to help put a stop to this human trafficking, put a stop to the cartels trafficking these children from Utah. I mean, not from Utah, from the Tucson sector, from the Yuma sector. Kind of find out, and we have recently learned that Las Vegas, Nevada, and Salt Lake City are the two number one human trafficking corridors where the cartels bringing the drugs, the children for human trafficking right in, and they're being prostituted out. A lot of them are. They're being sold off in
Yeah.
sex houses.
Yeah.
Where, from my understanding, and we're working on some intel on it, there are some pretty high officials that's also involved in this. And I'm not going to mention names until we have the facts in hand, and then we're gonna blast them. We're going to get it out there to the world. But my understanding is some of these officials have actually gone in and committed sex crimes themselves by having sex with these children.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And it's a sick world that we're in.
It's almost like it's for a lot of those people, it's like a contractual thing. And it's like, are you in, or are you going to help us, or are you going to hurt us? These traffickers, and yeah, they get people, and people in Utah think, oh, well, I don't see the child sex brothels here. Well, those young women of any age, they're exported. They're exported out. I was talking to a guy the other day that was telling me about in China, a high-rise hotel that was just all prostitutes, and most of them were Americans, and those people are worth $650,000 a year to the cartel owners, the people that are driving that, for as long as they live, which is they've got a short expectancy. I mean, it's they take people and they put them into this system, and a lot of it is running right through Provo, Salt Lake, here in Utah.
Right. And we got some other stuff that we're working on as well, Bill. I have learned that a lot of these women that have been kidnapped here in America have also been taken over into Mexico. And they're being prostituted.
That's my understanding.
Yeah, they're being prostituted out in the sex houses over there. And when they're all used up, they just kill them.
Yeah.
And 90, if you guys look up the statistics on how many American people are missing over in Mexico, it's unreal. And Homeland Security even puts it out there on their site time to time. And we're talking over 10,000 Americans missing in Mexico as we speak. And people say, oh, Mexico's safe to go over and get your medications and all this stuff. Well, I'll tell you what, I disagree. You go down into Algodones, you go down right outside of Sassabee, cross into that border right there, and those are nothing but prostitution towns. And their cartel ran. I was interviewing people over there outside of Yuma, right there on the California side at the border checkpoint, talking to them. And I said, what are you guys actually witnessing when you're over there? And they said, all we see is heavily armed Mexican police. That's it. Because the cartel has pretty much ransacked their cities over there. And they flat out said even the Mexican military over there is afraid of the cartel. The cartel is more they outman them, they outgun them, everything in the book. And not to mention, a lot of the police over there will even tell you that a lot of their agency is corrupt as well. They flat out will tell you that in interviews, that they work with the cartel. So it's like, how do you, a lot of people were against Donald Trump for saying, well, maybe we just need to strike the cartel on American soil, on Mexico's soil. I have to agree with them. I mean, if you hit them right where it hurts from the get-go, it's going to stop the major flow of the drugs and stuff coming through over into America because you hit them on their home front.
We saw with Doge and you said grants and people wonder how does America, with all of its resources and all of its technology, How do we get $40 trillion in debt? Well, this is what it funds. It's
Yeah,
criminal. It's a
yeah.
shakedown of every person in this country. You know, you're born here with $100,000 or more in national debt assigned to you. It's not fair. You know, it's not right. And yet somehow we just watch that, that national debt go up, and we watch politicians who came in almost destitute leave worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Nancy Pelosi. It's like this is people. You have to be able to like connect those two dots, is because they're so easy to connect. Yet somehow we,
For
we
the
still
yeah.
tolerate it.
For those of you guys watching today out there in Utah, especially, if you guys got some evidence on some of the fraud going on in Utah that you would like to provide to Phil Lyman, um, Phil, how could they send that over to you?
I've got my biggest source right now is X, and it's just Phil_Lyman on my X account. Just Phil Lyman is the tag, but we've got Facebook and Twitter. I've got a website, and we're redoing the website. It's still just my old campaign website, uh, um, which is Lyman for Utah. That's FOR. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, probably on social media it's it's king right now as far as
So
our
so so
news source.
so if we got some other whistleblowers out there, if you're not afraid to come forth, reach out to Phil or reach out to Your News Arizona. Again, my number is 928-385-4738, or email me at yournewsarizona@gmail.com. Um, we've got to put a stop to the corruption, folks. Phil, in my opinion, should be the governor of Utah as we speak. They stole it from him, and I'm just going to say it like it is. And and reason why they stole it from Phil, and I'm just going to say it, because it's a multi-trillion-dollar operation of what's been going on with all the corruption, with all the human trafficking, drug trafficking, you name it. I guarantee you, even Utah is bought and paid for with a lot of these people out there. And I hate to say it like that,
No,
but I
clearly.
call black, white, white. Um, Phil is a fighter. He's a warrior when it comes to this stuff. He's boots on the ground when it comes to this stuff. He walks the walk. He doesn't just talk it. I mean, when he can be putting his life in harm's way with me and my team, knowing that he could very well gotten shot that day by the cartel, and stuck it out with us and said, "No, I'm here for the long haul." You know, he he put America first. He wanted to get this out to you guys as well here in America, and I applaud you for that, Bill. I do. There's very few warriors out there that's willing to fight the fight, not just talk it. Um, and sadly, we keep seeing a lot of these people go running for office. They make all these promises of how they're going to make their state better, and then once they get in office, it's like they're sitting in la la land. It's like, where's your action behind all your great talk, people? Um, and what you're doing, Phil, is, you know, I commend you for it. I mean, you're 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 an amazing man that doesn't back down from any fight, and I so if we can help you in any way as well, let us know what we can do to help expose this and
Well,
get it out
right,
there.
right back at you, Jonathan. I feel the same, and I was a little bit of a tourist down there with you on that trip, and you were guiding it, but it was not a tourist trip. It was a very real experience down there, and I look forward to doing it again. And
Yeah,
very, very eye opening. And you're right. We need people that for these issues are not an abstract thing that they read about, but something that they see it with their own eyes. They feel it, and there's more people. I think America is still the greatest country on the planet, and I think God cares what happens to us. And so, thank you for everything you do. I appreciate
well,
it.
what we're going to do, if you happen to be able to make it down for the American Fest, what we're going to do, we're taking a group of senators down to the border.
Are you?
Um, so we're going to lead the event, and from the event, we're going to head over to the border, about a 2-hour drive from there. We're going to head over, and we're going to take them right into the heart of the cartel um, on American soil. they want to see it. And like I tell everybody, if you guys decide to make a trip with us to the border, only thing we ask of you is, first of all, bring some armor gear. um, it's not going to stop a headshot, but things do happen down on the border. Um, if Phil could tell you. So we're asking you to bring your armor gear with you, bring your camera, film it, and take it back to your state. Take back the truth and get it out there. That's all we ask out of you people. I don't ask for money from you guys. If you guys want to make a little contribution to us, I've been doing this on my dime for a lot of years. And, but either way, if you don't want to make a contribution, that's fine. I'll still take you for a border tour and just get the truth out to the American people, what's really happening. And again, the fake news is telling you guys our borders are secure as we speak. Our borders, I just heard it again on Fox News, Phil. They're talking about, oh, we ain't had one person come through the border. And even Fox News is lying to the American people.
Oh
And
yeah.
I used to actually trust Fox News years ago. And maybe years ago they were trustworthy. But today, when I hear them making false reports like that, that tells me that they're bought and paid for as well. Because again, you guys go down to the tribal lands with us on American soil, and you're going to see the cartels coming through. You're going to see the human trafficking coming through. The drugs coming through. It's still happening, folks. And that's why we invite you guys to take a border trip with us as well. And we'll be happy to provide it. But we're going to live cover it, Phil, while we're down there. If you like, I'll live stream it over to you as well, to where you can, if you can't make the trip, and you can share it with your audience, and get it out to the American people what's still happening.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Because,
that was one of the most memorable experiences of my whole adult life. So,
I can imagine.
yeah,
Yeah.
really great.
Hey, Phil, if we can get you an officer, what's the first thing you're going to do in Utah to stop this human trafficking and the drug flow coming through?
Honestly, it is open up the records, open up the books. There are a lot of people who want records. They're all being blocked from getting those. We're going to have a massive push for transparency right on the front end, to give people the answers that they have been seeking.
Right.
And that's the, again, knowledge is power, and right now people are kept from it. So that would be the first thing.
Well, my famous last words, Phil, nobody's above the law. And every one of those corrupt SOBs, excuse my mouth, need to be held accountable.
Absolutely.
And I think we need to go after them. So,
Well, God
well,
bless you.
guys, I
Keep up the good
appreciate
work.
you, and I appreciate you being on my show this morning, Phil. Hope to have you back on again soon. And again, if you guys got information that you can provide over to Phil Lyman out in Utah, get it over to him. Phil's a very trustworthy man, and he won't blow your cover. He'll talk to you privately, but if you got information that you can provide as well, share it with Phil. That's all I'm asking out of you guys. Phil, God bless you. Tell the wife I said hi. God bless her and your family.
Thanks so
And
much, Jonathan.
keep
Yep.
up the great fight, brother. And
Thank you.
we'll have you back on the show again soon.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. All right. God
Okay.
bless you.
See you.
So, all right, guys, we're going to go ahead and end this broadcast. Appreciate you guys joining Your News Arizona this morning. And we'll be again live tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Mountain Time, 9 Pacific. Sorry for the delay this morning. I was in meetings, but we'll be back live again tomorrow. So God bless all you guys. Appreciate you being on a show.